All right, good evening. I call this public meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors to order on Thursday, July 11th at 6:43 p.m. I would like to remind our community that the purpose of our board meetings is to conduct the business of the district first and for everyone to learn about the district in a safe and productive manner. There are no community members signed up to provide comments this evening, so we will move on to our agenda. Our native land acknowledgement, we will begin with the native land acknowledgement. Vice Chair Way will lead the acknowledgement this evening.
Thank you. We acknowledge the land on which we sit and which we call the North Clackamas School District rests on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Molalla, and the Clackamas. We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn, work, and be a community on this land, and we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region. We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation that affected Indigenous and Native families, both past and present, and that will affect those in the future, and honor the resilience and revitalization of our Indigenous and Native communities. We pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you, Vice Chair Way. Director Wachter, will you lead the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First on the agenda is the selection of chair and vice chair. I welcome Superintendent Shay James.
Thank you. Good evening. Before we get started, I want to take a second to introduce a new face that you see here. We have Teresa Neff Webster with us, and she is our new Chief of Operations. And I will tell you, Teresa has hit the ground running with learning all about inclement weather and 100 degrees and whether we've needed to close, not close, what our dampers do, all kinds of things. And she has been in it and has really been learning a lot in a very short period of time. We're really excited to have her on the team. And so do you want to share, maybe I'll have you move next to the microphone and just share a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you, Dr. James, and thank you so much. So I am super excited to be joining the North Clackamas team. I've been in education my entire career. I actually started as a kindergarten teacher for 16 years, and then I moved into operations. And I became a district leader through first being a school leader with operations and then becoming a regional director with some networks. And I'm coming to North Clackamas from Boston Public Schools, where I was the chief of operations. So I am very excited to be joining the dynamic team and learning. So thank you very much.
She was like, what do you mean you don't plow? It's a little different here. Yes.
I'll let you have that.
I love it. Thank you. So she'll be with us. On a different note, before I move on to selection of chair, I want to thank our director, Benaloga, who has been serving as chair for this past school year. You have served our students and our staff and our community for many years prior to even getting on the board. And so your reach has been long and far and wide, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being present, for being engaged, for being thorough, and for most importantly, being student-centered. And so just want to say we are grateful that you are not leaving us, and thank you for being chair for this past year. In addition to that, when I wrote something out here, so I want to make sure I say it. You have put in many volunteer hours. You have visited programs. You have attended students' performances like nobody would even know. You have done hours of campaigning, legislative trips to the Capitol, and all the stuff that folks just don't see behind the scenes. And thank you for caring so deeply for our students. Thank you for caring for us, and thank you for caring for our community. So. Along with that, I want to say in addition, thank you to Director Way for serving as Vice Chair and the additional hours that you put in holding that position. People don't know the meetings and the phone calls that you get and all of those kind of things that take time, and it is volunteer, and so thank you. And again, your focus on students, family, and equitable outcomes make us better. And thank you for continuing to push us, and thank you for continuing to ask the right questions. So I want to say thank you, and also grateful that you are not leaving us. And so just in general to Director Benaloga, Way, Dobson, Wachter, Kemp, Bauer, and McVeigh, as we finish a school year and start a new one, on behalf of our team, thank you for your time. Thank you for your relentless advocacy on behalf of our students and family and community, and we appreciate you so much. And Donna will share a little bit of gift of appreciation that we have for each of you to say thank you for your volunteer. And you are welcome to open it now or later, whatever you prefer.
And I just want to say it's been an honor to serve the community and to serve the district. I love public education. I ran a daycare for 26 years and a preschool at home. And I love that 3 to 4 year old age. And I love kindergarten. I think it's the most magical time. And going to 7 graduations this last, I'm addicted to graduation ceremonies. Oh, thank you. It's really wonderful. I love graduations. I think they are, I think that's the stuff that feeds your soul. And I think you need that. And I have one final quote. I gotta have one.
I love it.
My final chair quote. All right. I love this. It's Ralph Waldo Emerson. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or redeemed social condition, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is to have succeeded. And I truly believe that. I think that we have so much good we can do. We just need to do it together. And sometimes we're not going to agree. Sometimes we're going to disagree, and we're not going to see the same path. But we just have to remember that we have a goal. We've got to center these kids, center these babies, because that's our job, and elevate the people around us, because the folks in this district and the volunteers on this board give themselves wholeheartedly every day to this work. And I am honored to serve you. I truly am honored to serve each one of you. And I'm glad to be a part of this community. So that's my last, I've been saving that one. So that's my last one, but thank you all for everything. Truly. It's a joy. It's a joy to be here. Even the hard stuff. I'm glad to be going through it with you.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and very fitting quote, and hopefully we'll get to hear more. We like them, so thank you. And so we'll move to the selection of the chair for the 24-25 school year. It's an annual July agenda item that we do. And at our last board meeting in June during board reports, each director expressed if they had an interest in being the board or vice chair for the 24-25 school year. At this time, per the OSBA policy guidance, I would like to open up the nominations for our board chair.
I nominate Director Way for chair.
Bauer, second.
And are there any other nominations?
I don't think I have to. I don't have to second it, do I?
But you're okay. Seeing none, I will close the nominations for the chair and will proceed with a roll call vote for Director Way to serve as chair for the North Clackamas School District for the 24-25 school year. We'll start with Director Bauer. How do you vote?
Director Way? Aye.
It's yes or no, Director
Yeah,
Bauer.
aye.
Director Wachter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Director Dobson
Aye.
and Director Kemp?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
Director Benaloga?
Aye.
Great. It is a unanimous vote of 7 that Director Way will serve as the board chair for the North Clackamas School District for the 24-25 school year. Thank you and congratulations both. So at this time, I will turn it over to Director Way to move on to vice chair nominations, and Donna will help us get situated here.
Hello, everybody. Well, before we select vice chair nominations, I don't want to let Director Benaloga off the hook yet, but I remember close to 7 years ago when I first thought about running for school board, I met with some amazing community leaders, Director Bauer, Director McVeigh, and last but not least, Director Benaloga. Even before she became on the school board, she was very active in our PCLA, the Parent Community Leadership Alliance. And I just remember meeting her for the first time, and she was just had very good questions for me, wanted to know my background and kind of, why I wanted to serve in the community. And I just love Director Benaloga. And I love that she is just able to think about all kids and all families and communities that we serve. And I honestly would not be here today if it wasn't for just the support and the help and the encouragement of just, again, so many people in this room. So I just want to say thank you. So moving on, our next item is the selection of vice chair. And do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Director Gina Benaloga as vice chair.
Okay. Any other nominations?
McVeigh second.
Okay, great. Seeing no more nominations, I close the nominations and call for a roll call vote. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Benaloga?
Yes, I would proudly serve with you, Chair Way.
Great. Director Dobson?
Aye.
Director Kemp?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Wachter?
Aye.
And I myself, Director Way, votes aye. So with a vote of 7 unanimous, Director Benaloga will be our next vice chair for the next school year. Great. Thank you so much. And we're going to just do a very quick transition of power of chairs. Yes.
I would just like to thank both of you personally. You did such a great job already. It's great to see the dynamic duo together again. So I know you work well together, and you work for kids. You have that heart and for kids and support for staff. Thank you for all the hours you put in and the additional hours in the next year.
And Dr. James doesn't have to train 2 new people.
Something to be said.
All right. Well, thank you again so much, board. And I didn't come prepared with a planned speech or anything for this evening, but I just want to say how incredibly thankful and blessed I am to be in this seat. I believe it was my first board meeting again about 7 years ago. And during the time we had my grandfather and my grandmother, my family members at my swearing in. And I remember, my parents and grandparents left a country that basically was shutting down public education. There were college students, my parents' generation at the time, where they faced a military dictator, and their peers were protesting, and they were just met with a lot of violence. And so to be able to leave a country like that and to come here and to get a wonderful education, not only for myself, but for my younger siblings who went through our school district. It has been just amazing, just an amazing blessing. And I know that we're all here to serve all of our students and all of our families. And so I just continue to hold on to that hope. I see the next generation in the crowd. Continue to hold on to just the hope that we have in our public schools and in our teachers. And let's have a great, successful year. So I would like to now open the approval of our minutes for last month's meeting. In the board packet, you will find the minutes of the June 26, 2024 meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
McVeigh, motion to approve June 26, 2024 minutes.
Is there a second?
Bauer, second.
Great. Properly moved by Director McVeigh and seconded by Director Bauer. Is there a discussion? Okay, seeing none, I call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, we got some on the phone, thank you. And then all those that oppose, please say no. Okay, the motion passes. I'm not sure if I heard Director Kemp, if he's on.
Yes,
Oh.
aye.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you. Just want to make sure we got everyone. Great,
Yep.
the motion passes unanimously, vote of 7-0. Next up, we have consent agenda and
Chairway,
yes.
there were two different minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think.
Oh, for the North Clackamas.
Oh,
We need to
okay.
go back.
So I did the minutes. We do the
We need to do the park.
Oh,
park
okay.
one. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so we're gonna go back and vote on the second item, which is a part of our minutes. So board, in the packet, you will find minutes of the June 26, 2024 North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District joint session with North Clackamas School District Board of Directors. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Great, is there a second?
Walker, second.
Okay, properly moved by Director McVeigh and seconded by Director Wachter. Any discussion? Okay, I call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Thanks. And all those that oppose, please say no. Okay, the motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Thank you. Okay, moving on now to the consent agenda. So there are several items that you'll see on the board packet for this evening's meeting. The items on the consent agenda are employment changes, policy revisions, travel requests for Milwaukee High School basketball, and travel requests for Milwaukee High School cheer. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? And again, as you're making the motion, please read all of the items.
Chair, I move to accept the consent agenda, specifically consisting of A, employment changes, B, policy revisions, C, travel requests for Milwaukee High School basketball, and D, travel requests for Milwaukee High School cheer.
Is there a second?
McVeigh, second.
Thank you. And now I call a vote for the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. And then all those, please say no. Okay, the motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Okay, thank you, board. That was a lot of votes in a short amount of time. Next on the agenda is policy revisions, and I welcome our Chief of Staff, Tiffany Sherman. Welcome.
Good evening, all. Good to see you. And some new nameplates. Welcome. Glad to see that. Tonight I have policy revisions for you, and these are the policies that have moved through the superintendent's policy review team and have support from the team. These are a first read. I'm not seeking any action tonight on these. The superintendent's policy review team has representation of both staff and board, and reviewed these and support these proposed policies. The first in your packet is policy JGA. This is related to corporal punishment and modifies the definition, basically, of corporal punishment to align with current ORS. Really causes for no practice change here in the school district, but definitely makes updates us to be in alignment with Oregon regs. Next, JGAB regarding the use of restraint and seclusion in public schools. And Oregon law was recently amended by a Senate bill that really the substantial modification is that the school district will immediately notify a family if any audio or video recording exists of an event of restraint or seclusion. Previously, that was not a requirement, but if it exists, now the school district needs to immediately notify the family. And then finally, JHCCF, and this is regarding the exclusion of students from school for lice, head lice. The Oregon administrative rule that previously allowed for the exclusion of students has been repealed. That was OAR 333-019-0010. And that had previously allowed school districts to create exclusionary practices and is no longer on the books. Additionally, this proposed language aligns with recommendations from the National Association of School Nurses, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Oregon School Nurses Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Those are the policies that I have for you tonight in this bunch. I will be back later with a different policy that is scheduled for action, but these are a first read.
All right. Thank you, Director Sherman. Board, do we have any questions for Director Sherman? Vice Chair Benaloga?
I have one quick on the last one. Can you remind me, because I know I'm on the policy committee, I'm trying to think back. Why did it change from the school district will provide information on treatment to the school district may?
It's simply a recommendation from the Oregon School Boards Association, and it was in their template to move that to May. Probably in case for at some point we don't provide it. It allows a little bit of gray there, but absolutely it's within your wheelhouse to say that we will. And if you'd like to keep that language, that is something that we could entertain.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Director Bauer?
Thank you, Chair Way. I wanted to say that. I just had a question on the first one because it says it modifies the definition of corporal punishment. I read it and I looked at the ORS. I think I understood it. I just wondered, how did it change it? Is it real subtle or?
I can't explain that in depth for you, but what I could do is get you some research on that.
It's okay. I mean, I read it and it made sense. It seemed consistent and I thought that's what we were doing. So I don't think it's
This was
different.
somewhat the conversation in the policy review team also was, we'll make the change. We don't really see that it substantially changes anything.
Yeah, that was my feeling. Okay, that's enough. Okay.
Definitely it's echoing when we were all around the table.
Yeah,
We were trying to see how this really makes much of any change.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Director Wachter?
Thank you, Chair. The policy that I wanted to just touch on or just ask a clarifying question around was the one on seclusion and restraint. And as I read through this the first time in preparation for the meeting, I became aware of a report that is annually filed. How would a board member or a member of the public access that report to see what is actually shared up with the ODE on restraint and seclusion in the district?
I believe, and I would have to check, or maybe if anybody could Google quickly, I believe that it is linked in our school district, from our school district website annually. I could be wrong. That was the practice maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So if that is not the case, we can make sure you get a copy, or I'm not sure that it is the full report or if it's the numerical data. As I recall, there's a data portion, and that's what gets uploaded.
You know I love data.
Yeah.
I would love to. I would love just to be able to access the report, and
Okay.
if it's a link to our website, that's great.
Yeah, we'll follow up. Is it there? Okay, we'll make sure you get it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for folks joining virtually? Okay, if not, thank you so much, Director Showerman, for the information. This is just a discussion item tonight, and thank you also for following up with the board about individual follow-up items that are needed for next time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will close that agenda item, and the next agenda item is employment benefits plan change. This is discussion. I welcome Executive Director of Finance and Business Services, Matt Macara, and Chief of Human Resources and Business Services, Michelle Riddell. Hello.
Hello. Good evening, directors. Tonight, we are bringing forward an item for discussion regarding employee benefit plan changes to take effect January 1st, 2025. These two proposed changes come in the form of recommendations from the district's benefits committee, which is comprised of representatives from district administration and each employee group. Both of these changes were the subject of several presentations, discussion, and deliberation across multiple meetings, and these recommendations are both made with the unanimous approval of the Benefits Committee. The first of these proposals is to change the Pharmacy Benefit Manager, or PBM, provider for North Clackamas's HMA plan from CVS to Magellan RX. Pharmacy benefits are the most utilized employee benefit and represent the fastest growing benefit and benefit expense. Currently, pharmacy benefits represent about approximately 30% of our healthcare spend. The proposed contract for Magellan RX would represent a savings of approximately $1.4 million from our current contract, with the potential for additional savings. Potential disruptions to employees' coverage have been considered as part of those discussions, and efforts have been made to minimize any potential disruptions to members. Up to 6% of members may experience a slight cost increase for some of their existing prescriptions if they choose not to explore generic alternatives. Though no current medications will be excluded from the new formulary plan, and the proposed provider, Magellan RX, has existing integrations with HMA, which should help facilitate the transition. The second of these proposals would add coverage for orthodontia to North Clackamas's Kaiser and HMA dental coverage. Orthodontia has frequently been mentioned by employees as a benefit which they've been asking for, and is also something that is very common amongst other employers and school districts. The Kaiser rates would increase by 1% as a result, and North Clackamas's self-funded HMA dental plan would have no increase in rates. We'd be happy to answer any questions, should there be any.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions by fellow board members? Oh, yes, Director Bauer.
So the orthodontia is only under the Kaiser, is that correct?
No, it's,
It's, they have it
under-
under HMA? Oh, okay.
well, there would be a 1% increase in the cost with Kaiser. There would be no cost in no additional cost increase for HMA.
Oh, okay, great.
So
Well-
it would be a benefit that it would be
Great.
available to both HMA and
great.
Kaiser.
Yeah, I just want to thank the committee of staff and board members. I know Director McVeigh and Benaloga and everyone, and your staff and administrators spend a lot of time on this. And it's a lot of detail. It's something I haven't been on. I'm kind of afraid to, but you bring great background, and I love that it's so transparent, and that, yeah, you're saving 1.4 million. Thank you. And that you got the agreement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, next steps. What will be the next steps on this?
Oh, the next step would be, I believe, action taken by the board in a following meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And I also want to echo Director Bauer's sentiment that this has been carefully vetted and looked through at with feedback by folks who would be directly impacted by this, and also our staff. So just really commend and appreciate the work that both of you have done on this, as well as the committee of folks who have explored this change. Benefits are all very important for our employees and just for the health of our communities. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, moving on, the next item on the agenda is the declaration of actual, potential, or perceived conflict of interest. And for this, I welcome our Superintendent James.
Great, thank you. This is an annual item. Every year, directors are asked to publicly declare any declarations of actual, potential, or perceived conflict of interest in accordance with policy BBFA. And at this time, I would like to turn it right back over to Chair Wade to do a round robin with all Board of Directors.
Thank you, Superintendent. So I will go by alphabetical order, if again, only if you would like to declare any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest. So we will start with Director Bauer.
Thank you, Chair Way. I believe I do not have any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest.
Thank you. Director Benaloga.
I have a potential conflict of interest as I work with high school exchange students for my day job.
Okay, thank you. Director Dobson.
I don't believe that I have any actual perceived, or what was the other one?
It's okay. Actual, potential, or perceived.
Or potential conflicts of interest.
Okay, thank you. Director Kemp.
I don't have any actual perceived or conflicts of interest at all with the school district.
Thank you. Director McVeigh.
I don't think so, but I'll just put it out there. My wife's a volunteer treasurer for the North Clackamas Education Foundation. So it's not part of the school district, but definitely close, fast follower.
Thank you. Director Wachter.
I don't believe I have any actual potential or perceived conflict of interest. I do have a person I provide support to who is an employee of the school district, but it's not a direct relative. It's an ex-spouse.
Okay. Thank you. And I have a perceived conflict of interest. So in addition to serving on our wonderful school board, I also serve on TriMet's board of directors representing the Clackamas region. And I just, for the sake of transparency, want to just put that on the record. All right, thanks everybody.
I probably should, I do
yes.
have one, and I don't know if I would need to, I would just recuse myself. I don't think I'd ever be selected, but I'm on the Oregon State Federal Dismissal Appeals Board. And so if there ever was a case, I wouldn't be selected, obviously, if it was North Clackamas, so.
Okay, great, thank you. now we will move forward with our board protocols and operating agreements. So this is an item that will be discussed more heavily at our next governance meeting in August. And prior to that meeting, if you would like to share any ideas with our board chair for any changes, concerns, topics that you would like us to review for that meeting, please contact me. But this is something that we've had some discussions as chairs, vice chair, where we really feel like it's just important for us to level set every year. Usually the summertime is just a great opportunity as we're thinking about fall and running our meetings, and also just continuing to welcome some of our newer board members. But governance is just a very important role for us to play as board members. So again, it's really to set the ground for how we can continue to work more effectively as a board. Okay. Let's see. I think we're doing pretty good on time here. Not to pat myself on the back, but yeah. Okay, so next on the agenda is board liaisons, committee assignments. This is a discussion item. The committees are in your board packet, so please read and review those if you have not already. I just want to appreciate Donna Collingwood, just our amazing board secretary, for always just being on top of things with reminders and things that we as a board really need to look at and do surveys. And so we will be receiving a survey with details of each committee and an opportunity for individual board members to share which committees you are interested in and able to attend. Again, this is an annual item that we discuss every year prior to the school year. Is just to know what your interest is for a committee or committees you want to serve on. And we should also have a minimum of 2 board members on each committee. So I believe that's why the Google survey is important, because when we indicate our interests, that gives the chair, vice chair, and Donna, and just other folks to take a look at the makeup of each committee, just to make sure that we have enough board members serving on each one. So any discussion about that?
Just one quick note, Chairway, that when you fill out that survey, there's a lot of committees on there. You will not necessarily be appointed to every one of those. We will simply make sure that there's 2, except for maybe Director Wachter. We'll put him on all of them. But we will make sure that there's 2 people on each committee, and that it's evenly distributed, so you can tell us which ones you're interested in and available for, and then we will make sure that it's evenly distributed, and that there's at least 2 board members, but that you will not necessarily be on all of those.
Thank you. And yes, so thank you for that excellent point, Vice Chair Benaloga. And we have not gotten the survey yet, but I believe it'll be coming our way soon. And I just also want to, again, extra appreciation for, this is another board assignment that we do, is we attend our regular board meetings, and we go out in the community to go to different events, but we also have the honor of serving on these wonderful committees that are established by the district. So thank you for your additional service and time on those. So the next item is our mandatory child abuse reporting training. And for this, I welcome Superintendent James.
Great, lots of annual items tonight, and this is another one that stems from Senate Bill 415 that was passed in 2019, which requires that all board members are mandatory reporters. So each year we require our staff to go through online training regarding mandatory reporting. And as board members, you're not required to go through the training online, but we have given you the information on the forms of abuse and reporting that would be worthwhile for your review that are in your packet. And I just want to let you know that our staff stands ready to support any board director in the process of making any report if it's ever needed. And we're also happy to answer any questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us to discuss anything or look for any support around that. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Superintendent James. Any discussion before we move on to the next item on this? Okay. Moving on, let's see. We have next on the agenda is board policy development, and I welcome Chief of Staff Tiffany Sherman again for this topic. Okay, and it looks like there's some handouts, so we'll just wait a moment here. Okay, thank you. And for Directors Kemp and Dobson, the handouts will be emailed to you shortly.
Good evening.
Hi,
again,
good
all.
evening.
Hi. I am joined again tonight with David Cruz, who was here with me in the June meeting, and we're so fortunate to have David here on the team. This evening, David, as our Director of Safety, Security, and Risk Management, and I are here to follow up on previous discussions about a recently passed Senate bill. That's Senate Bill 544, which gives public school districts the authority to prohibit concealed weapons on school district campuses. When we discussed this in March and also in June, we discussed that if a public school district wishes to move forward with such a prohibition, the bill requires public school districts to adopt a policy and to post notice of such prohibition at entries to school grounds and on the school district website. So at our June meeting, the policy draft was discussed. This is the same policy draft that's in your board agenda, and is the draft that you're being asked to consider for action tonight. There also were some questions that arose that we are providing responses to you regarding those two questions. David will go ahead and talk through a brief version of each of the answers, and then we will stand ready for you as you consider this policy draft.
Thank you, Tiffany. The first question that we had was regarding the question on firearm storage in the vehicle and whether or not that needed to be out of sight. And as I was reading the ORS 166370 last meeting, it did not clarify. And so upon further review, while not referenced in Senate Bill 554, when we looked further, ORS 166395 does apply, and it does clarify that in order to be considered locked in a motor vehicle, that it must not be the firearm, that is, must not be within view of persons outside the vehicle. So that does clarify that piece and align with what our understanding was under the Senate bill and their intent as far as safe storage of the firearms. The second question, I believe Director McVeigh was one of your questions, whether or not law enforcement and or the district attorney would have any discretion in charging a violation of our concealed weapons prohibition should we adopt it. And reaching out to our partners in those areas, they did confirm that both the deputy, or in the case of the city of Milwaukee, the officer, would have the discretion depending on the merits of the individual circumstances, and of course, as would the DA, as far as pressing or furthering any charges. So there is discretion in both those steps of the process, should that be an issue.
And that's what we have for you tonight.
Great. Thank you both, and also for the follow-up information. Board, do we have any questions? Director Bauer?
Thank you, Chairway. Thank you for answering that question. That was one of my questions. So when I look at the policy that you have in front of us, is that, okay, that ORS is cited in the last paragraph, correct? I didn't see it at first at the bottom, where the gun unloaded, locked in a motor vehicle, not within view, is covered in ORS 166370, you said? So it's in the policy.
So in 370 was what I was reading to you last time that says that it must be in the motor vehicle. If you go further into the requirements of the owner of the firearm,
That's where
it later states in ORS 166395 that in order to be considered
395.
locked in the vehicle, it must be locked in the vehicle and out of sight of any individual outside of the vehicle.
So
So
can that
it's-
ORS be added, or can you add not within view to the policy? That's what I'm asking. I mean, at legal review reference down below, I see 161, 164s. I don't see the 166 point, you said 395?
Correct.
Yeah. Although I thought it's 370. Oh, no, I see. Now, never mind.
We could without any slowing down of any kind of process
Can we?
or going anywhere else, we could add a legal reference to the legal reference list to change the wording we would want to work with our legal
Oh,
counsel
okay.
on the actual policy piece. But certainly we can add to the legal reference if you'd like.
So I would just request that you add it to the legal reference, and then we're covered.
Okay.
And that's fine with me. Thank you for that, and I support this policy. I believe it creates a safer and more secure learning environment, and that's a top priority for me, and I think for a lot of us, all of us. I think most parents think that this is already in our policy, that be consistent with no guns on our North Clackamas School District policy. So, and I was concerned about reading lots of the articles, and thank you for all the information about where it stressed that the ease in which in Oregon individuals can obtain a concealed carry license. That's of concern. So thank you for all of the information you gave us. It was really helpful.
Thank you. I think we have a few other folks. Director McVeigh?
Yeah, so if this is passed tonight, when do you think it would be implemented?
We stand ready to have signage placed at the locations where we think signage would be required by the first day of school.
Okay.
And on our district website, which is also a requirement.
Thank you. That was my follow-up. Was any other, in addition to the physical places, fields, et cetera, on our website that we can direct families to? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. So Director follow up?
Sorry. Yeah, just follow up. Since I think it should be a statewide policy, not a district policy, but that isn't, I don't have control over that. Would we, through COSA, do we remind other school districts that we are a no gun policy or just our new policy, firearms prohibited with even if a concealed weapons permit to let them know? I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen something from, basketball game at 7 o'clock in Milwaukee, don't bring your guns, but, I don't know if it just on our website, if that would be enough, or I don't know. The gun owner should know to check where they're going to make sure it's, I get that, but I just didn't know I just keep thinking about that one innocent, dumb mistake. And
If you would be open to this as a board, I don't think we would be opposed to OSAA and OSAA,
Yeah.
the Oregon School Activities and Athletics Association, sending them an email and sharing that this is something that has taken place here within North Clackamas, if this is passed, and encouraging them to make sure that member organizations all receive an annual list that member organizations will know which other, I can't say if they would take action on that or not, but if that is something that you would like to suggest, I would have. No
I would,
problem.
because that's what I worry about is visitors. Our community will know, right? I think for the most part, but if people visiting us might not know. And again, I just worry about that one dumb mistake and costing someone their job or whatnot.
We also will be placing it in the agreements related to anyone who leases the facility. So our youth sports groups, anyone who's signing any kind of annual lease or short-term duration lease would also receive that information. Did you have anything to add?
And I can just add, Tori, to your point, as our community frequents our buildings. The signs will be, I believe, we've shared some drafts, they'll be rather prominent and frequent throughout the facility. So those that are frequent visitors of ours will be aware very quickly. I can appreciate, though, if I'm somebody coming from across town for a basketball game or a football game, and then I catch myself as I'm entering the campus, now I'm in a little bit of a potentially awkward situation if I'm not being proactive with my responsibility. So yeah, we can certainly do that. And as well, we have folks that talk to facilities folks at other districts through OFSMA. I'll be attending the Oregon School Safety Officers Association Conference, and those districts that haven't already taken this has been a topic, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a topic that's discussed when I'm there this summer.
Okay, thank you. And I also really appreciate that suggestion by Director McVeigh of the more of the communication, the better on this, but also specifically with OSAA, as we're always having athletic events and having different schools in our district. And Vice Chair Benaloga also has some comments.
So I have two questions and a comment. How do the signs differ from what we have right now?
How do
How does the signage differ from what we have right now?
So a couple things. Right now, the signage that we're looking at updating will cover several different areas. That, again, it's a larger project that we're going to take on regardless of what happens with the board's decision tonight on this specific topic, other than maybe editing and either adding or taking out this piece of language. But right now, there is not any signage that indicates that firearms are not allowed on campus. So right now it's a known law, and it's the responsibility of the firearm owner to know that firearms are prohibited with the exception of concealed carry. So concealed carry is actually right now an exception to the law. And so as odd as it sounds, when we adopt this policy, or if we do, it's making an exception to an exception, if you will. And so that's why it's so important that we have it clearly marked and that we have that information easily accessible to our community as they come to our building. So on this specific topic, that's the changes, that right now there really is no signage addressing firearms on our campuses. There will be if we adopt this. The other things that we will include with that signage are, for instance, the fact that schools in the state of Oregon are to be tobacco-free, and we're hit and miss with our signage over time. There's a lot of other topics. If you go to some of our fields or our buildings, you'll see a lot of different pieces of required signage that maybe over the years hasn't been as consistent school to school, and we're going to correct that and take this opportunity to do that.
Okay, thank you. And one other question and then a comment. When you talk about, and I appreciate the information on discretion, there is no, we want to be really clear, there's not discretion on the part of the district personnel, correct? That is not where the discretion lies. The discretion lies with the officer that's attend and then the DA's office. Is that correct?
And again, in alliance or in accordance with existing board policy and an existing state law, if a staff member becomes aware of an individual who either currently has a firearm on premises or has recently had a firearm on premises, we are obligated legally to report. What this does, again, is changes for that person that is potentially concealed carrying. And again, kind of the discussion we've had before. If I know you're concealed carrying, it's either because you've disclosed that to me or you're not really concealing your firearm. And that's kind of the catch. But no, there's not discretion upon the district employee. Now, there is the possibility when we're talking about the discretion of potentially the district attorney, they may reach out to us, or law enforcement might reach out to us and ask us, do we want to trespass that individual from all of our campuses at that point? And that would be something that we would then work with our senior management in addressing how we want to respond to individual cases, whether or not we want to trespass an individual from all district properties. Again, depending on that situation, district attorney is going to listen to or may ask us for our position on that, and that may influence his discretion as well.
Okay, thank you for that. And then just one comment about when we do rent it. Is this something that can be significantly highlighted? Because I know, have you read all of the above, right? How many times do we click that and we think we've read it all, or we've read it before? So is this something that will be really highlighted so that people know that this is a change in policy when they rent?
We'll take a note that it's
Oh.
a desire and work with our leasing team and our community use of buildings team.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you. There's also some folks on the phone. Okay, I'm getting word from Donna. Director Dobson first, and then Director Kemp.
Thank you, Chairway. That is nice to say. We miss you though already, Gina. Well, I wanted to clarify a couple of things. One is that for the community who may be listening now or viewing this meeting at a later date on our YouTube channel, that what we are talking about does not impact law enforcement whatsoever. So the adoption of this policy does not exclude law enforcement from carrying weapons on school property. Just in case in all of our talk about banning guns or not allowing guns, anybody thought that was the case. And then I also wanted to reiterate, on behalf of myself, and I think with the agreement of the board, that the object of this policy adoption is not to catch anyone out. This is not something we're approaching with an idea of, a gotcha moment. And I really appreciate how considerate everyone is being about informing responsible gun owners in our community of our new rules so that they have every opportunity to act in accordance with them. And then lastly, I just wanted to say that I support this policy. I don't believe that schools are safer when concealed carry weapons are in them, nor do they lend themselves to the functionality of any other part of our school district operating system. So I think this is a wise course of action in line with almost all of the other states in the nation, and with a growing number of school districts here in Oregon. So proud of everybody for taking this step.
Thank you, Director Dobson. Director Kemp.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to see the school board move forward on adopting this policy. I think it's the right thing to do and follows along with several other districts in the state. So it's the right thing to do for the community. I'd also like to thank all of the advocates around the state who have taken time over the years to go down to Salem and to advocate with legislators about passing more gun safety laws that will improve the safety of all the communities across Oregon. So I'm familiar seeing those red shirts in different meeting rooms that are in our boardroom now. So good to see that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I believe everybody has gotten an opportunity to share and ask questions. And Director Sherman, yes.
One piece I do want to mention, the proposed action, if anybody chooses to read the proposed action and move forward with a motion tonight, if that happens, we will probably want to include the language with the addition of a legal reference to ORS 166.395.
Thank you.
With the addition of a legal reference to ORS 166.395.
And I too just want to say thank you for getting these questions answered. It did change the way I would vote because I do have full faith in the Milwaukee and the Clackamas law enforcement and giving them some, finding out they have some discretion. They're smart folks and they know when people make a mistake and it's honest. I think they have a pretty good read on folks. And so that really gives me peace of mind. So thanks.
Okay, Thank you, board. And I also, again, just really want to echo the sentiments of all the board members and expressing a lot of thanks and gratitude for this item to come before us, to really have us think more intentionally about, you know, how we can just create a safer environment for all who are in our district. And also really want to appreciate, I know we had a really much more robust discussion at the last board meeting around this topic. And so again, really want to appreciate the staff for coming back with details from, you know, signage and communication to just how are we really going to implement this successfully. And of course, you know, with other districts that are already doing this work. So I just really appreciate this. So I think we do have a consensus here tonight to move forward with a motion. Do I have a motion on the policy? Yes, Director Bauer.
Chair Way, I move approval of the attached policy KDA titled Firearms Prohibited with addition of legal reference ORS 166.395.
Dobson, second.
Okay, thank you. It's properly moved by Director Bauer and seconded by Director Dobson. Is there a discussion? Okay, and so I now call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those all those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion passes with a vote of 7-0. Thank you, board. So we are going to skip agenda item 9 for this evening. We will carry it to the next board meeting on August 8th. And with that, I believe it is 7:44. That's what I have. And I adjourn this meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors.